Kia ora, my name is Kura Te Ua. I was born and raised in Auckland, Tamaki Makaurau, but I have roots in the far north, a place called Whangape, and also Gisborne, Waihirere and Opotiki. I'm a tutor or kaiako in Maori performing arts and Haka Theatre, and also the Co-Artistic Director of Hawaiki TÜ.
It's the first time that I've heard of this term, Haka Theatre. Where did it come from? Did you make it up yourself? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So Haka Theatre was first, I guess you could say, born, the term, with a production called Aroha Nui in 2011, combining elements of Kapa Haka, Maori dance and theatre. And so it was born by a few people. I was just the one that picked it up and ran with it.
What does it mean? Is it combining two art forms, or do you take traditional Kapa Haka and merge it with contemporary? How does it work?
Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing process. It's definitely something that we're always defining. But the main thing is that all of the work that we create is revolved around the disciplines to do with haka. So whether that's tikanga Maori, te reo Maori, our history, our stories, and naturally, because we have performers in our company that are trained in dance from different forms, those are just naturally infused with the work that we create. And then of course you've got the conventions of theatre, lights and sound and props, which just add to the specular, so it just really combines them all naturally in a natural way without outdoing one or the other.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what Hawaiki TÜ does?
We're a company of Indigenous Maori artists specialising in Haka Theatre, so we've all trained in Kapa Haka, but have had training whether it be in martial arts or dance, some contemporary, some ballet, and then in theatre, which is the space that we use to create some of our work. There are about 20 of the performers that we've been working with over the last couple of years, and they age from 17 to 28. Oh, actually a little bit older than 28. So there's no real age restriction, and the company's growing and the demands are growing every year as we find out.
Did you have to go to school to learn all of this? Did you do further education to get to that?
No, I always had a huge passion for Kapa Haka, and I always stand by that, and that Kapa Haka is the foundation and the base of what I do, what I believe. So I was inspired at a very young age by Te Rōpū o Te Wakahuia, which is taken by, or born by Ngāpuhi and Pemia Wehi and the Wehi whānau. And so being sort of surrounded by them as a young child, I aspired to be a kai haka performer. And that's what there was at the time. Going through the years of training, I did some training at the University of Auckland, the dance program there, and also at Pounamu Performing Arts, where they encouraged us to step outside of the box and create something else outside of haka using dance as another vehicle. So it just eventuated, and those influences of haka and dance and theatre have kind of arrived.
Okay, going back to the three elements you were talking about, haka, dance and theatre, do you feel like now you've found your place of comfort to be able to express yourself?
To a certain point, we have a saying in Hawaiki TÜ, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So, we're always sort of living by that point. If I ever got to a point where I was comfortable, I think that I'm not quite doing my job as well enough. So in terms of the three genres, I definitely believe that Kapa Haka is the base and the foundation of Haka Theatre, which is a term that we're going by. And within haka, all the disciplines and all of the models in terms of te ao Maori that you can use to help guide you through any particular world.
What are some career highlights for you over the years?
One of the biggest things about haka or Kapa Haka is that I have travelled all around the world and I haven't paid a cent. With Kapa Haka particularly, dance, a few other occasions, but some of the highlights, I went to Canada last year to do an Indigenous exchange residency, but for me, I always wanted to travel the world and see other cultures and see other things, and this definitely was the vehicle for me.
Just going back to you growing up, were you always this, energetic, quite fiery character, in terms of dance? Were you always quite the performer?
No, I was very, 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 very stupidly shy. Yeah, it was like a taniwha that sat on my shoulder a lot of the time. I was very shy, and to this day I think haka or Kapa Haka brought that out of me. totally whipped it out. If anything, I was a child that loved to play lots of games with all of my cousins, and try to make up little dance routines and stuff, but never really thought that I would aspire one day to be a dancer or to have what I have now.
Is there a moment growing up where you feel like it definitely helped shape and mold you as a person?
Yeah.
Or it helped, maybe kind of create decisions in your mind that you're like, okay, I want to be this person. Made you run for it.
I was heavily inspired by Te Rōpū Te Wakahuia, which was born or run by Ngāpo and Pemia Wehi, now the Wehi Whānau. They had an amazing venture overseas performances, performed at top national Kapa Haka level. They had a group called Pounamu Performing Arts. They came and performed at my school one day, and some of them were my aunties and uncles, and I just remember that day thinking, I want to be like that. Yeah. And so, of course, I stuck close to them, and my dream was made true when I made the group of Te Wakahuia in 2005, I think it was.
Oh, not too long ago.
No, still young now. And never really ever looked back ever since. Yeah.
What about life growing up as a child? What were those influences around you?
Growing up as a child was really, really, I look back now, it was the best thing that I could have had. And I grew up in what they called us the village kids. We were brought up in a Black Power village in Otahuhu, and it was basically a lot of homes that all our fathers had built, and in the community they called us the village kids because we all had Black Power fathers, and we lived in this village of only the Black Power could go in there. So you can imagine what kind of a life that was, but what it did teach me was that I could either go one way or the other. I could go one extreme down the same way that I had seen or the experiences that I bared witness to, or I could go the opposite way, and myself and my bro, we chose to go the opposite way. Through Kapa Haka we were able to do that though.
So Hawaiki TÜ is your business. Being young and having to run a Haka Theatre business, what are some of those challenges that you have to face each day?
I think because we're still growing, at the moment, myself and my partner and our assistant producer, Jenny Stevenson, we all take on multiple roles. So perhaps I think I might have about 5 different hats that I wear. So some of the challenges perhaps are just, I came into this not knowing anything about how to write funding applications or how to even present a business plan or just basic fundamentals of business. But I think I slowly attracted the right people, and they taught me certain things. I'm still learning. So
being a creative and being somebody who works in creative arts in New Zealand is quite tough to do as a full-time job. Yeah. Do you do this full-time, or do you have to do like other little jobs on the side to make ends meet?
Yeah.
Because same goes for like musicians in New Zealand. Yeah, definitely.
I think most people, if they can teach their craft, then it's a means of some sort of way of living, which is what I do. I teach a certificate of Maori performing arts through Te Wānanga Aotearoa, and that's my mahi. That's also the feeder that I utilise as an academy for Hawaiki TÜ to train people up, so they can have pathways once they're finished. But I think most people, what they do is they train, and they get to a certain level where they're really, really lucky for companies to pick them up project after project. Those are the lucky ones. For those that aren't so, a lot of people work in cafes, they get the casual type of mahi, but for most of the time the feedback is that they wouldn't have it any other way. It's either feast or famine, but it's the sacrifice for doing what they love.
For our young people out there who may not fit into a particular box, but are creative like you, what are some tips you can give them to maybe even pursue a dance career?
From the outset, sometimes our rangatahi don't actually know that that's what they're good at until someone comes and pulls it out of them. If they know that they like to dance, then attach themselves to programs like the Certificate in Performing Arts or dance degrees so that their eyes can be broadened. Attach themselves to crews or companies that exist where they can surround themselves and feed the fire. If they're really, really serious, head to places, in terms of dance anyway, like Unitec, the School of Dance so that that they're on an even playing field as everybody else, so that there are no reasons for them to not be picked as the top dancer or the top actor or the top producer or director. Get educated and so they can get to that same even playing field as everybody else. No excuses.
Thank you for those awesome tips. Looking ahead to the future though, you know, what is next for Kura Te Ua?
The plan next for Kura and Hawaiki TÜ is to reach people on a global scale, worldwide scale, to introduce or reintroduce Maori performing arts and Haka Theatre to the world.
Put it there, man. We're gonna smash it.
Yeah.